Yo, what is up, my guys? We're back again today. I'm Crix, and I'm here to answer some of the questions we had in the previous DPS rotation guide for your Frost Mage. Alright, so I've been getting a lot of questions about spell priority and bits and pieces and what order you should cast things in, and I am going to try my best to answer them all for you, right? There is some important things that everybody needs to remember about their Frost Mage. The most important thing is that our damage is so heavily based off ice lance that's important not to overcap and not to waste them. Now, when we start our AoE rotation, now we're talking strictly about AoE, you're going to Blizzard. Your priority is going to be Blizzard, assuming you have a Rune of Power, and then Orb. And I can hear people saying, but why that order? Okay, there's a couple of reasons for that. You're going to cast your Blizzard because you want it ticking on the targets. Okay? Now, while you're casting your Rune of Power, your Blizzard's currently ticking on your target, but it's also cooling down for a recast. Then, once your Rune of Power is cast, you're going to instantly Orb. So that Orb picks up half of the duration of the current Blizzard that you have down. Now, second reason. If you were to cast things out of order, and let's say, for example, you Orbed first, and then you cast your Power, and then you cast your Blizzard, you have two issues with this. First issue. While your Orb is active, it's generating Ice Lances. Depending on what your cast time is, you could have up to 3 seconds to cast your Rune of Power and to cast your Blizzard. Okay, so the big issue that you will have is that you will most likely overcap on your Ice Lances, and that's where your damage is. You can't afford that for that to happen, right? The other thing is that while you're casting your Rune of Power, for 2 globals plus the cast time of your Rune of Power, your Blizzard has sat idle. It has done nothing for you. It hasn't helped reduce the cooldown of your Orb, and we need that to happen because we want to generate those Ice Lances. So, it is insanely important that you stick to that order. You Blizzard, assuming you have a Rune of Power, you cast your Rune of Power, and as soon as that cast completes, you're spamming your Orb to get it out there. Okay, now, a big thing that a lot of people are going to make mistakes on is Arcane Explosion. Now, I went over it in a previous video, and honestly, I still strongly believe that it is only worth casting when you have 3-4 mobs that are literally about to die. Okay, so please stick to the order of Blizzard, Rune, Orb. Get those Ice Lances out. That is where your damage is. We're going to demonstrate that in game and show you the difference in damage and explain that your Ice Lance is what is important. We're only going to use our Blizzard and our Orb to facilitate the gain of more Ice Lances. Okay, when we look at the damage meter, you will see a significant difference between your Ice Lance damage, your Orb damage, and your Blizzard damage. So make no mistake about it, guys. Your Blizzard and your Orb are feeder spells. They're there to work hard, creating more Ice Lances for us to cast. Okay, now, we've gone over the spell order that you should cast them in. I think now what we'll do is we'll go into game and I will show you that rotation in game. Okay, we'll take a quick look at some of the things that I have changed because I have an AoE set of gear, and I'll explain that when we get in game. So we'll go straight into game now. We'll take a look at that gear and I'll show you what I've changed for my excuse me, for my AoE set. Okay, if you'd like to see the single target set, it's in the DPS rotation guide in the previous video. All right, so let's get into game, take a look at it. So, here we are. Probably the handiest damages to come to. There's 4 of them here, so this damage is based off a 4 target rotation. But before we start doing anything, we'll take a look at the gear, okay? First thing I want you to note is right here. The difference in my stats. Now, just because I don't have like perfect gear, my crit is now down to 32%. But I use crit food to make it up to the 33% cap, okay? In my single target gear, I have 33.3, and I use mastery gear to buff the damage of my icicles, okay? My haste is the big one, okay? In my single target gear, I use 16% haste and favor a bit more mastery, and my frostbolt and blizzard cast at 1.7 seconds, okay? 21 seconds is casting my blizzard and frostbolt at 1.6 seconds, so I'm reducing my GCD on or the cast time, sorry, of my blizzard by 0.1 seconds, and in an AoE rotation that's pretty significant because you're going to cast a lot of. Remembering, it's just a feeder spell. It's just a feeder spell. We use it to get orb off cooldown so that we can use orb to generate more ice lances. Mastery, not that important. It's significantly higher in my single target gear. Now, what I have favored here is the Vita Titan Shard, okay? Because it's a base haste buff, but it also procs haste. Humming Black Dragon Scale, Raw Intellect, Big King, and it also procs haste, okay? So, we've gone for more haste than as much as I could get, but I don't believe that any more than 21.5 is. I mean, you could be looking at 28, 29, 30% to reduce your cast times by about another 0.1 seconds. So around that 21.5 is going to be a nice sweet spot for you. But let's go and take a look at what we talked about and the order in which you're going to cast your AoE rotation. Okay? It's going to be Blizzard, into Root of Power, into your Orb. And you'll see the reasons why. Okay? Well, we'll talk about it quickly again. When I cast the Blizzard, it's already ticking on the targets, but while I'm casting my rune, it's continuing to cool down. When I cast the orb, it'll almost be ready again to cast when the first orb goes off. So the orb is benefiting from the duration of 1.5 blizzards instead of just 1 or maybe only a half of the blizzard duration. And we need the blizzard duration to reduce the cooldown of the orb to give us more ice lance generations, because that's what our orb does. So let's take a look at what it's going to look like. So we're going to Blizzard, Rune, or Frostbolt. And start cast. Right, Blizzard's already off cooldown. Let's go. Wow, I'm really not getting many procs. But again, Blizzard. Really not getting a lot of procs here, bro. But this is for the purposes of the damage breakdown, so you guys can see that even your AoE is all about your ice lance. Right there, still gonna Blizzard, Orb, into Frostbolt Ice Lance. We actually have had no flurries. And there we go, there's a flurry. Now, runes off cooldown, but remember what we said in the previous video. We want to be lining that up. It's gonna come up. There we go. Boom. Maintaining the order of Blizzard, Rune, Orb. And that is your go-to. Right, so let's stop attacking that. Now we're going to take a look at the damage meter. Now, bear in mind, I'm doing, what, 4.5 to 5k AoE damage there on 4 targets without using Condensed Life Force and without using Icy Veins and my Berserking Racial, etc. So the damage is pretty significant. But it's because we maintained the right order in which we casted our AoE spells. And we also remembered that Ice Lance is the big daddy. We used our blizzard, our rune, and our orb in that order to generate the ice lances. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the damage breakdown now. And there you go. Ice lance, 35.5% of the damage. Frozen orb, 19.8% damage. And icicles are 13.3%. Now, remembering that your icicles are a passive cast when you cap them and you cast an ice lance, I hope the fact that you can't see Blizzard on there confirms that it is just a feeder spell. Okay? Your AoE damage is not coming from your Blizzard. Your AoE damage is coming from the order in which you cast those AoE abilities and use that Blizzard effectively. So if you're using them in the wrong order, you're gonna see your Blizzard creeping on to your AoE top 3, and it realistically shouldn't really be there, depending on what your stats are. Yes, over the course of a dungeon you will probably see that it will be there, of course, because you're going to have multiple mobs. Depends on how many mobs you pull. You know, there's a lot of different deciding factors there on whether or not your Blizzard will actually be a feature in your top 3 abilities. But the Ice Lance damage, guys, I hope that breakdown confirms that this is all about Ice Lance. Your Frost Mage is all about Ice Lance, including your AoE damage. So, we'll recap your order. So you're going to Blizzard, into Rune of Power, into Frozen Orb, spamming those procced Ice Lances, weaving in your Frostbolt while you're waiting on another Blizzard coming off, fishing for that Flurry proc. And remember that you're going to Flurry double Ice Lance because we put 2 Shatter Stacks on our initial target. Now, guys, one thing that I really don't want to see any of you guys do is cast these spells in any other order. I don't care if you panic. Think about this. If you panic, you mispress. You cast out of order, and it screws up everything for you. Stick strictly to Blizzard, Rune, Orb. If you don't have a rune up, keep it in your head. BO. Blizzard Orb. Not Body Odor. Blizzard Orb. When you have your Rune of Power up, bro. Blizzard, Rune, Orb. Bro. So you've got BO and bro. Probably confused a couple of people there. I thought it was quite humorous. But guys, that is pretty much the important things that you need to know about your AoE rotation. Please, guys, don't be the guy that just runs in like a headless chicken, casts a Blizzard, and runs around spamming Arcane Explosion. Take it from me, guys. Arcane Explosion will not be a feature on your AoE damage. Like I said before, if a couple of mobs are about to die, and a couple isn't even enough, it's probably going to need to be 4 or 5 even, or more than that, for Arcane Explosion to actually be effective. You are better off casting your Blizzard. In the instant that everything might die in the cast time of your Blizzard, well then sure, blink in there and Arcane Explosion it, you know, be that guy. Now, one thing extra that you can do, okay? There's a little extra. But again, you're putting yourself into a position of harm's way because you're going into melee. Okay, so what you can do is this. You can Blizzard, Rune, Orb, Blink, Freeze, and run back casting. Okay? Because every target is then frozen, and your Blizzard gets to crit. A little bit more complex. It'll take a bit of practice. you can do that. You can see it. It's hitting for over 200. Okay? The targets are frozen. You can see the difference. Okay? None of the targets are frozen now. Well, actually, this guy keeps freezing them. So let's use this dummy. Let's use this dummy, right? So you cast your blizzard on it, and it's ticking for 89, 88, the occasional crit for 400. Right, but what's the difference? Right, so now it's frozen. I will blizzard onto it. Your blizzard won't break the freeze immediately, so you can get an extra couple of ticks out of there. So, think about the damage that that can do versus spamming your Arcane Explosion. So if you're going to go in there with your Arcane Explosion, cast your blizzard first, blink in, freeze your targets with your Frost Nova, and let your blizzard do a little bit of extra damage for you. It's just a little bit of extra damage. It's a little bit more complex, but it will give you a better overall output. Do I recommend doing it? In all honesty, if you're feeling confident enough and you know you can get away with it, it's perfectly fine. What I try to do when I do it is I try to bank at least one Ice Lance while my orb is ticking, so that I can run back out of melee casting procced Ice Lances. Again, you can bank a flurry for this so that it gives you time. A flurry would actually be better because you can flurry, Ice Lance while you're moving back into position as a ranged player. If you're not feeling that confident, guys, you don't need to do that. The important things, and we're right back to the very beginning. The order in which you cast your AoE abilities will make a big difference for you. So please, Blizzard into Rune of Power into Orb. The reason that we do that is we want our Blizzard ticking while we're casting the Rune of Power, because while you're casting the Rune of Power, your Blizzard's coming off cooldown for that whole cast time. Your Orb is an instant cast, so it picks up the remainder of that first Blizzard, and then it gets the full duration of your next cast on Blizzard. Guys, I think that's pretty much everything that we can go over with your Frost Mage AoE. I mean, you can think about maybe using some AoE trinkets. I don't believe that we need them. I think it's more important to cap your crit and stick to the rules. And your rules are Blizzard, their Rune of Power, and then your Orb to generate those Ice Lances. The Ice Lance damage is absolutely insane, and that is where your AoE comes from. It doesn't come from your Blizzard. It doesn't come from your Frozen Orb. We use those two spells as tools to give us more Ice Lances. Test it out for yourself, guys. Get back to me in the comments and let me know what you thought your results were. And if you think I missed something, because it's a possibility. But I don't think I have. I hope I haven't. So, what we'll do is, guys, we'll talk quickly about what we've just gone over. And we'll call it. I think we'll call it. But there we go, guys. That is the very, very, very best, in my opinion, order to cast your AoE rotation. That AoE rotation, I have explained it, the reason why I do it, and why I believe it will improve your AoE damage. Please, guys, do get back to me in the comments. If you haven't watched some of the previous Frost Mage videos, please, please, please do that. If you haven't already smashed that subscribe button, please also do that. I'm going to be leaving a link to my socials, my Twitch, and my Discord in the description below. And guys, you know what the comments are for. Please go ahead and use them. The support has been absolutely amazing, and I can't thank you enough. So that is me saying, here we go, guys. There is your guide to godlike AoE Frost Mage damage in your pre-patch. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, it's been a pleasure to make the video for you guys. I hope it helps, and I hope I didn't make a mistake. Feeling good about it, though. feeling good about it. Guys, once again, big thank you to everybody showing me all the love on YouTube at the minute. Please do drop by the stream at twitch.tv/Crix123. I'd love to see you guys in game, and we can maybe hit some Mythic Plus and stuff. But for now, guys, we're going to sign off with that order one last time. Your Blizzard first, into your Rune of Power, into your Frozen Orb. Get those big boy Ice Lances and smash your friends on the damage meter. Guys, thank you very much for watching. It's been a privilege. It's been an honor. I'm Crix, and for now, I'm going to say see ya in the next video. Thanks for watching.